Campus Center. A lot of you know me as Reverend Keith, also Reverend Son from time to time. I also like to think myself as Reverend Love, too. And it is the month of love. And but before we get to the crux of the service, last week while we were in service, there were events unfolding in Calabasas that we're all well aware of now. And we lost a whole bunch of beautiful people. And our community has been affected. You know, we talk about sometimes 7 degrees of separation. But for a lot of us, that was 1 degree of separation from the people that we know that were actually here. They've actually walked in this, played in this building, and played basketball. And then you sometimes have people like Kobe who are, they create a 1 degree of separation just in their beingness. Their beingness is so bright and so filled with love and so magnificent. And he touched so many lives, you know, in Southern California and beyond, of course. But I just wanted to touch on that and bring something. Now, we know as an Agape affiliate that our teachings know that life is eternal, life is good, and that Kobe and his beloved, beautiful daughter and the rest of them that were on the families, the ones that have transitioned, we know they're good. They're good. They are soaring and rejoicing. But the families that are here, that's what we hold in our prayers, and that's what we hold and send them love and strength so that they can rise into a greater understanding, because it is a greater understanding through the dynamic presence of love that creates the healing. And there's a healing that's going to take place for the community, for the families, for everything. And it can be a little heartbreaking to know that there's a family that's going to have some children that aren't going to have their parents, and that Kobe's family won't have their father. So just join me for a moment. We're just going to take a moment to bring to mind all of the families, to bring to mind the Bryant family and everyone else. And to the best of our abilities, not from a place of sadness or despair, but from a place of dynamic love, we send them all of their family members, the presence of beauty and grace and love. And we know that all of them are eternal beings of life. I'm truly grateful to take a moment as we come together, because we know that there is the individualized experience that each one of us gets to express, but there's a collective unity that ties us all together beyond race, religion, gender, situation, age, circumstance. Beyond any of that, we are all connected. We are all united. And so we gratefully bless them. We take a moment and we use our God-given gift to bless, and we bless their families. We bless them with light and strength, clarity, peace. And that all truly unfolds in benevolent, tender, and beautiful ways. So it is. Amen. That was something that really touched us. We're in the middle of, we're in the beginning. We're in the beginning of the month of love, Valentine's Day coming up, and we're also in Black History Month, and we're also celebrating our proclaimed dynamic love. And love is dynamic, and as Lacey was saying, it is so much more than, romance or warm fuzzies that we get on the human level. It's joy, it's beauty, it's grace, it's truth. It is dynamic and it is eternal. And as an Agape affiliate, we are part of the New Thought teachings that takes the golden thread found in every mystical teaching of every religion, because we do know that every religion, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, shamanism, all of the major religions, the teachings, there is a golden cord that it rises and it vibrates so high. It's in the mystical sect of those religions. But oftentimes, just like in our own individual experience, oftentimes we vibrate down in the carnal vibration of duality, the carnal vibration of the material world that forgets the rest and gets caught up. Not only are there religious dogmas that sometimes get misinterpreted, but there's our own personal dogmas that we all adopt, habits, beliefs, situations and circumstances that limit us and thwart us from time to time. And so it's in the transcendent nature of rising into the higher vibration through choice. Free will, free choice was designed as a mechanism so that we could choose our way to liberation, but we want to choose aright. We want to choose correctly. We want to move into the secret place of the Most High and commune with Spirit that it lifts us. I saw this amazing, just like so many historical lessons. I saw the movie Harriet recently, and just an incredible movie, you know. And Harriet Tubman, who, if you watch the movie, you find out a lot of information that, you know, was left out of the history teachings. First and foremost, she was a deeply spiritual. She left this perfect roadmap of how you do it, where you commune with Spirit and you let Spirit and Providence guide you before you make a move. And so that, to me, that's what I walked away with. It was, you know, an intense time in our national history, but that which was playing out in the field back in the mid-1800s, with slavery and all of the discord from the North and the South and the this and the that, it all comes down to one boiling point, which is the illusion of separation, that there's a they, whether that's they as the Northerners or the Yankees, or whether that's the Southerners, or whether that's these people or those people. And we know in our community that there is no these and those. There's a oneness of a we-ness that we all commune and connect with. And we allow ourselves to make that a pivotal point of our spiritual practice, that we turn within and we move away from the illusion of lack and limitation. We move away from the illusion of impossibility and we move into the truth of possibility. And last week, as I was we were going over it, so some of you may or may not already know that the video from last week got cut short. So I know some of you came up to me afterwards and said, oh my God, I'm going to have to watch this afterwards. There was a lot of good information in there. And lo and behold, most of it's not there. So I'm going to review a little bit. Last week we were talking about reflection. Reflection as being one of the most powerful tools that we can use to connect with the dynamic presence of love. So the theme of the month is the dynamic presence. And the topic for today is saintly susceptibility. So we know that saints, most of us, when we think of a saint, we think of some, you know, deity type person who is greater than thou and maybe greater than us and has certain attributes, etc. But a saintly person is somebody who has just embodied the truth of God within them and expresses it. Their thoughts, their words, and their deeds are all on the same page with the truth of dynamic love. That's what a saint is. A saint is someone who's embodied that. And then if you want to get into the dogmatic ways that, oh my God, did a saint, you know, a person who walked on this earth, did they meet up to these criteria and blah, 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 and then we're going to give them the title of saint. But a true saint, of which there are, you know, we are all saints in training. And at the same time, the paradoxical point is, we are all saints and saintly within our core. There is a part of us that knows exactly what to do all the time to express the truth and love dynamically. It is your nature. It is who you are. You aren't your name. You aren't your gender. You aren't your religion. These are great costumes and packages that we all came here to play a role. We're in one bite. This is one big dynamic stage that we get to play a role, but the best part of it is you're the writer, you're the director, you're the producer, you're the editor. And the editor is the person who gets to go in through reflection and clean up. We get to edit the scenes. And we get to change it. And because we live in a dynamic quantum field of infinite possibility, one of the things that we want to do in our reflection, so as we were going over last week, we want to reflect over the day. You would go ahead and you would, at the end of today, for example, you'll reflect over the day. And you'll move into 3 stages of prayer, if you need to. But first, as you're reflecting back, where did I let impossibility thwart possibility? That's a question you want to ask yourself. Where did I let impossibility thwart possibility? Because everything is possible. Everything is possible to those who allow it to be possible. So we know that sometimes there seems to be things like a physical challenge, or a monetary challenge, or a relationship challenge that may, at the height of heights, could include abuse, really dynamic, crazy abuse that might just seem insurmountable. We know that there are these extreme experiences, and then there's the more subtle ones, and these are the ones I'm actually going to ask you to be more mindful of, because it's those big ones that usually grab our attention. Usually we get the attention if all of a sudden something happens and I all of a sudden go from a level of mediocrity to poverty, that might grab my attention. But if I go to mediocrity to a slightly less good level of mediocrity, it might not grab my attention. But to the spiritual warrior, to those on the saintly path, to those who are saintly susceptible, which means to be susceptible means you're allowing yourself to be benevolently vulnerable. So you've heard me say this from time to time. Benevolent vulnerability is what we mean by susceptible. Susceptible means that we come before the altar of God Almighty and we yield. We yield from our smallness and we open to our greatness. And it is a very strange place to be because most of us have the association of yielding or going into our greatness from an egoic perspective. But it is very humbling. It is very humbling, and it can make you quiver inside. You start to, when you humble yourself to your magnificence. Your magnificence is so pure and so beautiful. It's filled with charisma. It's filled with charm. It's filled with holiness. It's filled with divine right perception. It's filled with a confidence that only expresses itself as kindness. It never expresses itself. It's never boastful. So it's one of those things. It's something that you have to experience, but you have to allow yourself to be saintly susceptible. You have to be benevolently vulnerable. So the part that you've heard me say is that whenever we do things, we as a community agree. We as a community agree that as part of the Agape Association of Communities and as Agape affiliate, we know that Agape stands for unconditional love. And there's something dynamic and something that Reverend Michael he embodies is that he stays so steeped in the light. And I've spent, some really, really wonderful time with him. And, the reason he has got that thing is because he walks the talk. I've seen the behind the scenes, behind closed doors. And the talk and the walk are still happening. They're still happening. Yeah, some people from time to time I've heard things. Just like, we heard over this past week, there was a couple people that some things like, oh, Kobe did some things that happened in his past or whatever. And it's like, no. No, these are people that they're just projecting their own stuff out into the world. Now, this doesn't mean that if something's off, if somebody's being abused, if something's wrong, the dynamic presence of love doesn't make it bad or wrong or ridicule. It just says no. It says no in a totally confident, brilliant, beautiful way that says no, and then it calls to the person or the situation or the circumstances, and it says, show me your divine self. Show me your divine self. It doesn't say, you're horrible, you're bad, you're rotten, off with your head. It says, no to that behavior that is from the illusionary temporal world, and yes to show me your magnificence. And that can be very hard at times, to show me your magnificence. And so you've heard me share before about, I've pretty much meticulously gone through just about every relationship I can remember, and I keep allowing Spirit to show me where else, what else can I orb out? Because until you're radiating and walking in bliss, we know that when you are enlightened, when you have reached that saintly status, where there you have no issues and you're just brilliant, all your relationships are good, your prosperity is good because you know God's your source and your supply, your health is good, everything is good. When you reach that saintly status, you're being of service. You're of service all the time. You serve others all the time. And not from the old school. So this is again where some of the misinterpretations in dogmatic practices in religion, where it's like, I'm going to be a martyr. And I'm gonna sacrifice in the old paradigm way, not to make sacred, which is what to sacrifice means, is to make sacred. But I'm going to sacrifice my own good for the benefit of others, which then leads to beating myself up, and it leads to resentment. We know if there's resentment, something's off. Love isn't dynamically expressing itself. So we want to open to that dynamic presence, that dynamic love through saintly susceptibility, and we want to do that through our practice. The entire reason that we practice our spirituality in this community, and that's what, like I said last week, the thing about the New Thought community, the thing about the Agape community is we ask you to participate in your spiritual unfoldment. We kind of ask you not to put people on pedestals. So in some of the very, tried and true teachings in Judaism and Christianity and the Abrahamic religions, there is a tenet that says, do not worship false gods or false idols. Meaning that the temptation to slip into duality and to put something or someone on a pedestal that recognizes something outside of you in them, but doesn't recognize it in you, is the reason that we don't worship false idols. Now, that doesn't mean you don't praise and acknowledge and have a beautiful idea of somebody who is expressing that love, that beauty, that fun, like Kobe. Somebody who's really dynamically out there in the world. But we're accessing that dynamic presence within us. So we reflect, and we find out where did the impossible infiltrate my possibility. We reflect over the day, and if you haven't reflected over the day in a while, you're going to have to reflect over quite a few days. You're going to have to reflect over some weeks and some months. And you're going to allow the spirit of your own divine nature to take you back and reflect, and then cleanse and purify through prayer. Prayer is the portal. Prayer is the portal until it becomes the way of life. And so we reflect on the prayer as it was saying in the song that Lacey was singing, help me. Sometimes we have a prayer of help me, which is just an evocation of allowing ourselves to be empowered with that which we need to embody and to express. It's kind of like if you were to imagine a coach who's supporting someone in their gymnastics, or somebody who's helping someone with, singing or playing an instrument. They're going to pull out the best in you, but you have to do it. You have to sing the song or do the gymnastic twirls or whatever it is. You have to allow it to happen through you. So we ask for help as an embodiment, not for something or someone to go and do it for us. It's always great to have someone come and fight your battles, but it's also nice to know that I have within me that which dissolves the illusion that there's a battle to even fight. Because there is nothing against us and everything is for us. We know that in our teachings, nothing against us, everything for us. But are you experiencing it? And if you're not experiencing it, then we reflect and we use the prayer of help me. Help me to embody, it's an evocation. And then we ask for show me. Show me. Show me what I need to know, like Harriet did. Show me what I need to know, what I need to see, what I need to do to triumph. To triumph and have liberation and freedom. And just like they were singing in the movie, where they're like, let my people go, it goes back to the Hebrews and Moses and the time, that it's like speaking to the liberation of our own consciousness. We are our Savior, we are the Messiah of our beingness. And yes, just like in shamanism and in the Eastern traditions of gurus, it's kind of similar in the New Thought. We are always with one hand extended this way to lift someone up, and always with one hand extended this way to be lifted up. Because it's always going to be this ascension of allowing ourselves to grow into a greater expression of who we are. And we're about maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, maybe 15% on our way. So if you are having, also a little caveat, a little read on the label in the fine print there. And also, if you didn't catch it in your human user's manual, how to be divine in a human body on planet Earth. Most of us, everybody got one, right? Because we should all have one of those things. The way you get it is you have to sign up for an account, and then you gotta get a password, and then you gotta log into the divine through prayer meditation. That's how you get it. And then you get the downloads. They're free downloads. You don't have to pay for them. You can download unlimited, and it increases your bandwidth. And you don't have to pay for the bandwidth. You get unlimited increased bandwidth and downloads for free should you choose to sit and be still and know that I am. This is what we do in our practice. And, just to kind of, burst your bubble a little bit, because some of you, I know, sometimes like, oh, God, I was meditating for like 10 minutes yesterday. And I was like, I really gotta go. I got things to do. And it's like, well, what's ending up happening is you're going to be meditating a lot, but just like love is dynamic, meditation takes you into the dynamic presence of love, where joy and grace and beauty and truth, they start expressing themselves exponentially through your beingness at a vibrational field that you would probably be very challenged to know at the lower, denser vibrations of separation. And so when you become, through the law of associative memory, when you become used to certain lower vibrational fields, you gravitate back towards that. Like, oh, no, I can't meditate because I gotta go to Starbucks or Pete's or wherever I go. I gotta go get that coffee because it's gotta wake me up because I'm so tired. And I'm not letting life force go on me, so I'm gonna try to have this caffeine and this acidic drink kind of toxify my body, and then I'm gonna be more tired, and then I'm gonna be on this hamster wheel. And really what you do is you gotta get off the hamster wheel. And you gotta be energized by the Holy Spirit and allow the presence of God through and as you, because remember, it's you actually, it's you. Just like Ernest Holmes, one of the forefathers of our movement, this thing called you. He's talking about you. You're the holy presence. You're the holy presence, and everything you need is within you. Even though at times it seems like we do a prayer like, help me or show me. That's because we're matriculating from this idea of separation into wholeness. And it gradates itself. And just like Reverend Michael talks about the different levels of consciousness, from victimization to things happening by me and through me and as me, and as we get up into the as me consciousness, we start to become aware of our oneness with Spirit, and there's no efforting there. There's just bliss and nirvana expressing itself all the time. So we move into that field, again, just reviewing through reflection, and then we reflect on the things. If you imagine there's nothing left that you need help with, there's nothing left that you need to be shown, then all you're going to be doing is being one of the most beautiful prayers is the prayer of gratitude, where you're just in awe. You're just in awe. Even when you see tragedy, like we saw last week. So part of that too, what we saw last week, everybody who saw that, whatever you felt around it, because it touched any part of your own beingness, and if you follow the thread of how it affected you individually, you'll find where some healing needs to take place. And so we want to allow ourselves to let every day be an opportunity to transmute that which does not serve us, transmute that which would tether us to impossibility, and break free into possibility. And the show me prayer, the show me is about saying, I want to see possibility. And it also takes you away from the law of associative memory, which is, if you listen to, if you've read any of Esther Hicks and any of her work, and you have to be a vibrational match to that which you are seeking. And so that which you are seeking is going to pull you into your vibrational match. The minute you say that you are seeking to know what prosperity is like, everything you have within you that is against it, as a house divided against prosperity, is going to rise up for cleansing, for purification. All of the beliefs, all of the illusions of separation are going to rise up. And sometimes when things like that happen, we're like, oh, well, I guess it wasn't supposed to be that way. Oh, I guess I'm not supposed to be prosperous. No, that is the false belief giving a voice to the impossible that is illusionary and does not exist. Be mindful, as it says in the Course in Miracles. As it says in A Course in Miracles, do not make the mistake of thinking you understand what you see, for it is when the Holy Spirit interprets what you see, then you will understand. When your own divine self interprets what you see, when the highest point of your own divine intelligence interprets what you see, not your surface mind, not your trauma, not the part of you that's mired in lack and limitation, not the part of you that thinks that something and someone's against me, because the something, someone against you is going to have you choose from impossibility. And we don't want to choose from impossibility. And again, sometimes hard, easier said than done. But that's when we move into, so right now we're in the throes of our visioning class. And in our visioning class, as one of our spiritual practices, when you go into visioning, you connect with the call, the show me what's going on. I want to connect with the call of my soul. I also am connecting with infinite benevolent possibility. I'm going to highlight benevolent because the universe only operates benevolently. There is no struggle or strife in God or the universe. It's fun. It's really fun. That's why, because I used to be one of those people 20 years ago or so, when before I started all this, I was really on the downward spiral. I was on the downward spiral, getting more pessimistic, more cynical. And if I hadn't done anything back then, if I hadn't woke up, I'd be one of those crotchety old men right now. Those kids today, all that stuff. No, infinite benevolent possibility. Infinite benevolent possibility is what we connect to. Show me. We move into gratitude, and sometimes we weave them back and forth. Sometimes we go into gratitude, then we go into show me, then we go into help me, until one day help me becomes insignificant. We don't need it anymore. We're just in a show me from the place of creation. Because when we're done healing is allowed. That's when prayer is the portal, when we're healing things. But when we're done with healing, and that's at this level of being in the world but not of the world. When we're done with healing, we're just living, we're thriving, we're creating, and we're serving. We're serving everything and everyone. And so we want to make sure that we tune into this. We want to tune into the infinite possibility. We want to make sure that we're participating in our reflection of possibility and gratitude. We want to make sure that we reflect on a daily basis. We want to make sure that we become aware that it's kind of like Joseph Campbell in his famous Follow Your Bliss. We want to follow our bliss. And be mindful, he left us this kind of roadmap of the hero's journey, where you're born into a particular situation of kind of mediocrity, and then all of a sudden the call comes, and then the proclivity to want to ask for help is going to show up, and then those that are going to help you rise in. And all of it is it's taking you back to, and as you guys watch The Matrix this coming week, you're going to see how it's a great depiction of the illusion of separation. But we're moving back into wholeness, and we're making the journey home. We're making the journey home. And so we just want to be cognizant of that. We want to be cognizant that we want to choose and allow. Choosing and allowing is key to everything. Because oftentimes we choose and then we don't allow. Because sometimes it's like, I sit in meditation, I'm in my visioning class, I'm visioning every day with my partner, like we chose to do, visioning every day because I have more than enough time to vision with my partner, pray with my partner all the time. I'm kind of setting something out there for y'all. Because I know some of you are kind of, I don't know, I'm visioning every day, I've got to go get my Starbucks. Let that go. We're going to move into I have more than enough time. I'm more compelled and more committed to the vision of my life where joy, bliss, grace, beauty, and magnificence and prosperity and wellness resides than anything else. I mean, win. So why not? Why not? So we want to allow ourselves to commune with that, and we want to choose and we want to allow. Because sometimes we choose and then we don't allow. We got one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. So we're going to take the foot off the brake. And sometimes it's going to be like, oh no, I got to put my foot back on the brake. No. And that's where the humbling comes in. That's where the quivering comes in. Where you're going to be like, oh. Like, okay, like for example, with me, one of the first times that I had to go through true, deep, earnest forgiveness, and I was like, okay, this person, I really got some judgment on, or really got some issues with. I'm like, like, really do I have to, like, forgive them? And it's like, okay. And it's like, okay. And like the part was like, no, I don't want to take my foot off the brake. They're going to hurt me. And it's like, no. So if you're doing it properly, if you are asking for the help, if you're asking to be shown, so this means you're rising above the carnal mind and you're allowing infinite benevolent possibility to guide and direct you, unite and connect you, then you will be shown exactly what to do. If you are evoking kindness from the person, that's what we want. Just like we were blessing everybody all the families that are processing right now through everything they're going through. Just like we were blessing them, we bless ourselves. We bless ourselves and we step into the strength. We step into the strength to be able to transcend. So we choose and we allow, and I'm just going to invite you right now. We're going to lay a little bit of a groundwork. I want to make sure that, that we're on the right page here, because one of the things you've heard me say from time to time is that we always want to grow, heal, and expand through love and through joy, because believe it or not, if you've ever had an experience where you've gone through some very arduous, painful experience, and it's like, and then you got out onto the other side, and you're like, oh my God. And sometimes we even say something like, and it was worth it. And it's like, okay, but what if it was like a little more benevolent? What if it was a little more spacious? What if it was a little more kind? So we're going to choose, because some of us have the belief that I grow and heal and expand in arduous, hard, and difficult ways. Some people love a challenge. And it's like, well, if you like a challenge, great. But I'm going to say, let's just go ahead. I'm going to ask you to join me as we turn within. And I'm going to invite you to just close your eyes or open them, whatever feels good. We're going to turn within. And I'm just going to invite you to affirm with me in the prayer field. I choose and allow to always heal.
I choose and allow to always heal.
Create and grow in benevolent and holy ways.
Create and grow in benevolent and holy ways.
I choose and allow myself to only be motivated by inspiration and enthusiasm.
I choose
Now you know why the first one I cut in half. Okay. So the second one, I choose and allow myself to only be motivated by inspiration and enthusiasm. Because we know that inspiration is to be inspirited by the presence of truth and God, and that is also what theos enthusiasm is. I choose and allow to be divinely susceptible.
I choose and allow to be divinely susceptible.
With courage, optimism, and faith.
With courage, optimism, and faith.
And it is from these declarations of truth that I'm going to invite you to join me as we turn within once again. We leave the impossible and we move into the benevolently, infinitely, gloriously possible. The very realm, the very grace, the very beauty, the very light, and the very love of dynamic grace that is God. God moves mountains, erupts volcanoes, illuminates stars, beats our hearts, and shows us the truth. We open to that omnipresence, that omniamorous light, and we allow ourselves to be enthralled, to be infused, to be overwhelmed by this presence. We allow it to rise up like the phoenix from the ashes. And that we only and always allow ourselves to remember the truth of our dynamic presence, that each and every one of us, born in the image and the very likeness of the Holy Spirit of God, meaning that there is an eternal light within us that has never been hurt or harmed. That eternal light knows nothing of poverty, it knows nothing of hurt, it knows nothing of sadness, it knows nothing of pain, strife, or struggle. It only knows brilliance and freedom and infinite benevolent supply. We open to that in a humble, humble place. We kneel before the altar of God Almighty, God all good. We allow ourselves to be so enveloped in this presence. We evoke it, we invite it, and we allow it. I am truly grateful to know that everyone sitting here has everything they need within their beingness, every gift, every talent, every ability to feel, see, hear, know, taste, and smell the presence of good, of God as ourselves. And so it is from this place of gratitude, knowing that something wonderful has taken place just by becoming still, just by softening to the divine strength of the Holy Spirit, we are empowered. We are humbled. We are empowered. We are lifted. We are compelled and propelled. We have to be shown. We have to be helped. And we let it be good and we let it be now. We claim it so. We let it be so by saying, so be it.
So be it.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
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 Ashe.
Ashe.
Aho. Shalom. Hotep. And hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Wonderful. That's all you gotta do. We're getting ready for the ushers to come forward. If you're streaming it online, please go to soulcenteroc.com, scroll to the donate button, and please donate. You can also text to donate any time of any time that you would like. You can text to donate to area code 669-342-2157. We appreciate that. And if the ushers come forward as we get our tithing ready, I'm going to ask you to just hold your tithe in your hand and maybe even clasp it together between your hands in prayer position. And whether you have a tithe or you're just on auto tithe or you text to tithing or donating online, whatever it is, we know that tithing, being one of the highest vibrational frequencies of the law of circulation, is a way that we commune with Spirit. And we know that it is not my money, it is not limited resources or limited supply, but is our connection to infinite supply. And we know that money is a secondary energetic field that is moved by intention and desire. And so we open into that field, our intention and our desire, as that we know the power and the presence of infinite supply coursing through our bones and our veins. And we know that we are the blessed and the blessors. We bless this tithe. We allow it to be released into the law of circulation, allowing it to return to us minimally 100-fold, successfully, brilliantly, beautifully. We let it all be, and so it is.
So